Director Danny Boyle has directed Oscar-winning dramas and one of the most charmingly confusing movies that I have ever seen. But before all of that, he directed a zombie movie. That movie was 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later stars Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, Brendan Gleeson, and a pre-med Christopher Eccleston. It tells the story of Jim, played by Murphy, a man who wakes from a coma to find that the world has basically ended due to a zombie apocalypse. As he wanders through the very empty streets of London, he comes across a band of survivors led by Selena, played by Naomi Harris. The pair leave London with a father and a daughter, the father played by Brendan Gleeson, and they meet a brigade of rogue soldiers from the British military, led by Christopher Eccleston. I had always heard really positive things about 28 Days Later, and so, when I was coming up with the first encounter, I decided that 28 Days Later was a must. And while I'm certainly glad I saw it, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. Firstly, I really enjoyed all of the acting. Cillian Murphy is really good in this. This was before he would become Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy and that shell-shocked soldier in Dunkirk, and before he became Robert Fisher in Inception. Just before all of that, he was Jim from 28 Days Later. He really sold how I would imagine a lot of people would sell waking up in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. Now, if you tell me that you would wake up and you would find the nearest gun and find the nearest pack of zombies and go guns blazing, I'm sorry, but you are lying. I also really like the dynamic that Murphy forms with the rest of the cast. Brendan Gleeson's daughter in the movie, and Naomi Harris. They come across as a makeshift family. One of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when they find this old grocery store and they're running through the aisles just picking up all the food that they can get that hasn't spoiled. Christopher Eccleston was kind of the generic military type, like he had gone off the rails and he was like, martial law's in effect now. Like, he reminded me a lot of Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now, but, in far better shape. But while I don't regret watching this movie, and I did like it, there was some stuff that I didn't like. Firstly, the camera work. Basically, this movie is shot to look like it's all done on handheld cameras. It's not actually shot on handheld cameras to my knowledge. It's made to look like it, though. I bring this up because this makes the movie look kinda cheap. And I know that that's more than likely what director Danny Boyle was trying to go for. And I do respect that. Danny Boyle has directed more movies than I probably ever will. However, considering the fact that The Blair Witch Project, the latest movie that I reviewed on the first encounter, and then you have this movie, The Blair Witch Project, ironically enough, shot on handheld cameras and with a lesser budget, looks far better than 28 Days Later. I feel like with 28 Days Later, they tried to do the very crappy camera quality as a stylistic choice, and it was blatantly obvious that it was a stylistic choice. It's like some of the lesser found footage movies, where it's like, alright, there's no real reason to make a found footage movie, let's just do it because it's insanely cheap to make. In a weird twist of fate, 28 Days Later, with a far bigger budget, looks cheaper than The Blair Witch Project, which was made for the Hollywood equivalent of 2 slices of Wonder Bread. And also, for a zombie movie, there weren't a lot of zombies in here. Now again, stylistically, I think that Danny Boyle was trying to make a movie where the zombies were built up. So when you did see a zombie, you're like, oh crap, there's a zombie. And in that regard, I do respect the choice. However, there was such a period of time where I didn't see any zombies. I'm not asking for a movie like World War Z where Brad Pitt is shooting up zombies on an airplane, but I'm just asking for some zombies, and it's almost like, well, the party's over, the zombies have come and gone. To be frank, when you do see the zombies, they do legitimately look gross looking, and the effects look good. That is, when you do actually see them. I'm just saying, there's a lot of potential that you could do with a zombie movie, and I feel like the movie just didn't utilize it. However, at the end of the day, I do respect why people like 28 Days Later. It's clearly not for me, but I do respect why other people like it. I do give it a good rating on the basis that the acting is really strong throughout, and the dynamic between Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, and Brandon Gleeson and his daughter in the movie is really strong, and their relationship with Christopher Eccleston really made for some really tense scenes. I just wanted more zombies. Like, there were so few and far between that I almost forgot that this was in fact a zombie movie. However, that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching. The First Encounter will be continuing with my review for the anthology movie Trick or Treat. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.